I have put it online. Namaste, everyone. This is Shruth from the Vedic Temple. We have guest Acharya ji amongst us, Acharya Varun Dev ji. This is the second session of the four session series at the Vedic Temple. Today, we are going to talk about how to make our meditation more effective. Acharya Varun Dev ji is going to lead us in this session. Over to Acharya Varun Dev ji.
सभी को सादर नमस्ते। एक बार लंबा गहरा श्वास लेकर ओम ध्वनि का उच्चारण करेंगे। ओम। Today, our meditation session will be afterwards. In just few minutes, we will recap what we have discussed on that day, on Tuesday. So, on that day, we pondered over the necessity of being spiritual. Why should we follow the spiritual path? Why should we make our life more spiritual than materialistic? And also we came to that point where we tried to understand that the initial point of our spiritual journey starts from the strong willpower, conscious willpower. And the two reasons I gave on that day why we should follow our spiritual journey. First, anybody wants to say something? What was that reason? First was, okay, first I will tell you. The first one was that our whole life we try to fulfill our life with the utmost happiness, the state of happiness, the state of bliss, to fulfill ourselves completely, integrally, so that we are never felt that we are not perfect. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Whatever we do, whatever we gain, it always requires repetition to instantly fulfill our need of happiness. The second reason was we need to know the reality of our identity, the reality of our true self, who we are. And if we have not come to that point of need to feel the need of finding our true self, then we are lost. At least if this idea of self-realization has come into our mind in one way or another, our spiritual journey will take place. So, then keep doing it. So, सहज अपने अस्तित्व की, अपनी पहचान की खोज और उस अक्षुण सुख, इम्पेरिशेबल ब्लिस, हैप्पीनेस की अटेनमेंट is the logical derivation and necessity, utmost necessity at this time when there is no certainty of life, of anything. Everything is in flux. In the process of change, climate is changing, globe is changing, and so many things, fights are going on, wars are going on the earth, and we don't know where this world is going towards. But one thing we can make sure that we will make our life full of richness of the spiritual splendors. The splendors which we look outside, material splendors, are nothing when we will have a tiny touch, a little touch of that spirituality. Maharshi Dayanand Ji describes that in Satyat Prakash. He raised this question, what do you feel when you have that divine touch? स्पर्श ईश्वर का या ईश्वर की अनुभूति का. Then he says, even the little of it for the one moment, you can face the mountains of difficulty without disturbing yourself. Do we have that endurance in ourselves that whatever difficulty will come, we will face without being disturbed? There is no that state of consciousness in ourselves that we are vulnerable to everything. We are vulnerable to thoughts, ideas, circumstances, and situations. Then, when all this came, okay, now I have decided I have to find out who am I and what is the spiritual life. From that point, we need to start our journey from the right knowledge. Because if we don't have the right knowledge, right actions cannot come out of them. If somebody wants to become an engineer, he has to follow that study in order to become an engineer. If somebody wants to become a doctor, he has to study medical science. One cannot claim to be a doctor if he has studied engineering books. So the same way, if we want to progress spiritually, we have to first have the right and correct knowledge about spirituality. What is this? Then on that day, we took the reference of Yoga Darshan. Then what are the kleshas which are obstructing our journey, our self-finding? And those 5 kleshas we discussed: avidya, asmita, rag, dvesh, abhivesh. Then I will not go in detail what was that. You all know. Now, the willpower, conscious willpower, how to generate that in order to be constant and persistent in our spiritual efforts. That is the main thing. How? If we don't have interest, if we don't feel joy of doing something, we will stop doing that thing after some time. That is for sure. If we are enjoying whatever we are doing, we will follow that till the end. So here comes yoga. Yoga is that means with that we can realize ourselves. With that means we can find our true self, our real self. Now, the correct understanding of yoga is also very necessary. And what is the prerequisite of yoga? Because everyone now in the world is talking about yoga. But the clarity is not there. Everyone has that inclination towards yoga, but somebody is going to Vinyasa yoga, somebody is going to Raj yoga, somebody is going to different places. There are so many places which you can find out and go. And then after some time, okay, one can have some little improvement in oneself, but after some time, one stops progressing. Why? Because in the beginning there was a curiosity. This element of curiosity was there. Oh, I have today learned a new word, Vinyasa Yoga. Let's see what is this. And we go, and after some time we follow that, then slowly our mind finds out, okay, now I know what is this. Then our efforts becomes more and more lazy, inactive. Purusharth becomes less and less. Then how can we, because the right knowledge is not there, the correct knowledge is not there about you. So for that purpose, we have to take shelter in the scriptures. And scripture says, as Maharshi Dayanand describes in Satyat Prakash, if we have this, if we are less, we are completely ready with our inner attitude. And this inner attitude consists of four things. First is Shravan, listening, attentive listening. When we are listening something in order to progress in our life, we have to be, our listening should be sincere and attentive. If we are sincere, then of course automatically we will become attentive. If we are not sincere, then whatever we will listen, it will be useless. We will not contain that, it will go out of our mind. We will forget within few minutes. So sincerity is the first prerequisite of yoga. And for that, then we can do attentive listening, and with attentive listening, then become the contemplation. And contemplation is do whatever you want to do, logical derivations, to make your mind completely get absorbed in that idea, so that the roots of that idea are very deep in the mind. When roots are deep in the mind, then the germination of the seed of spirituality will start. Otherwise, without that process of contemplation, without that thought process, that thinking process, very easily we will lose the grip of the idea. Anybody will come, will discuss, we can be carried away very easily. So then why it is dangerous? Because still that ground is not correctly prepared. Our mind soil is not correctly prepared, so that what we have sowed, the seed, will come out from the earth as a sapling, as a plant. So that contemplation is inevitable. That we have to do by ourselves. Nobody can do for us. That our sincerity will make us do if we are sincere. The third thing, that idea will become natural to us. I use the word natural. Like our children are very natural to us. to whomever we meet, they are very natural to us, very obvious. Oh, we know who they are. So that idea of progress in spirituality, to find ourselves, to find our soul, this idea itself must be very natural to us, very obvious to us, not a foreign idea. Like sometimes if we talk about spirituality and soul, this idea itself should attract us like a magnet. Okay, it is something about which I need to explore. Let's discuss, let's sit down and let's focus. What is this? When that sincerity will come out from us, from deep within, then which means this idea has taken root and it's there now, prepared to come. And then comes realization. Then comes our efforts to realize ourselves. So, what is yoga? A very simple question. I don't want definitions. Whatever you understand by the term yoga, please tell me. जी, ठीक है. Or to become one. Okay. Anybody else wants to try? जी बिल्कुल. तो ये हुआ एक शास्त्रीय, एक स्क्रिप्चरल डेफिनेशन. योग चित्त वृत्ति निरोध. For that now it becomes more deeper. What is chit? Now what is vritti and what is nirodha? So simply first we need to understand that yoga is the means to realize our soul and Atma and Paramatma, the supreme self and our individual self, our true self, the identity of ourselves. That yoga is the means. Very simple. Then comes the definition. What is making me stop in realizing myself? What is that? Ji. Of course, avidya is the main root cause which is making me stop. In Yoga Darshan, Maharshi Patanjali, he is describing that it starts from we have to catch that very small fish in the pond, which is making us disturb. And what is that? What is chitta vritti? And what is vritti? Movement in our mind. That can be movement of avidya, of course. All movements in the mind are because of avidya. So basically, vritti is the movement in our mind which is always taking different shapes, and it is making us see things differently, if we can see. Like a glass. If we have put a green glass in front on our eyes, everything will be green. So it is because of our eyes or because of glass? It is glass. We cannot blame our eyes. Oh, our eyes are not, there is defect in the eye. No, there is defect in the glass. It is not transparent. So vritti are those glasses which are making us see differently in a wrong way. यथार्थ दर्शन वहां पर नहीं हो रहा. So यथार्थ दर्शन कैसे हो स्वयं का? Then comes the different steps of yoga, of yoga. We all know Ashtanga Yoga. I will not go in details of Yama and Niyama, everyone knows. But tell me one simple thing. If our lifestyle, because soul, the realization of soul and Atma and Paramatma is so subtle, is so sukshma. And our lifestyle will affect our meditation. If we are sitting in meditation in order to concentrate, and we have filled our cells with such kind of things which are not conducive to concentration, then what will happen? We will sleep. Our mind will deviate. Our mind will feel so heaviness in itself that it will go to sleep or something will happen. Couldn't concentrate. So many ideas, thirst of ideas will enter in the mind, and all our efforts will be useless. So why I am telling, before we start the process of yoga, we need to purify our nature. Purification is very necessary. And for the sake of purification, yama and niyamas are constructed. The structure of yam and niyam is given in order to purify our outer nature. For example, first niyam is shauch, that niyam. If we do not purify our body, if we do not purify our vital being, our vitality, our prana shakti, if we do not purify our thoughts, then what will happen? We cannot concentrate, we cannot contemplate, we can do nothing. Because the Vishaya of Atma and Paramatma is so deep. It needs utmost concentration. For that purpose, yamas and niyamas we have to follow in our life. We should absorb them in our lifestyle, in our behavior. Then we can say we are ready for you. Otherwise, we can make like the palaces in our mind of spirituality, but in reality, if in our behavior we are not purify our nature, then our efforts will be not so much effective. For example, if we want our children to make them be a great thinker, studious, voracious readers, we need to give them a discipline. So, yam niyama is discipline in behavior, simple, in our day-to-day life. Then comes the second thing comes then, it comes to mind. When outer nature is purified and it is in alignment now with the spiritual efforts, inner efforts, then what will happen? Our mind will be ready to concentrate, to meditate. So before that, the first necessity is to make a comfortable posture of the body. If we are not comfortable in our posture, what will happen? We will do like this. After some time, we will move, and when our whole awareness will be distributed in arranging in our body itself. So asana, we have to take a proper asana. Whatever you want, we will start meditation after some time, but we have to take a proper posture, comfortable posture, so that at least for some time we don't move. Okay, now we have found and everybody has everybody has its own structure, construction, then everybody has to find its own posture. If somebody is comfortable on the chair, please sit on the chair. Don't insist, no, I will sit only in Padmasana. I will only sit in Vajrasana. That is not yoga. We are not ascetics that, okay, if I will not sit in Padmasana, I will not I cannot meditate. That's a wrong idea, wrong conception, please. So just find your comfortable position, whatever it is. Then it will be more easier to meditate. Okay. After this, slowly we are moving ahead. Then comes the purification of our breath. Prana. If prana is not purified, then it will disturb in between. Of course, if we have the tendency and habit to meditate, then prana will not so much disturb our meditation. If we are mature enough, our meditation is mature enough. But if it is in the beginning, we have to do pranayama, breathing exercise, few breathing exercise in order to, also it is a process of concentration. It is a part of meditation. So when we do that, we start with that pranayama, then what comes? Pratyahara. And who will tell me what is pratyahara? Correct. But as it is very easy to say to withdraw from the senses, very tough, very difficult. Because to disconnect yourself with the senses is the challenge. And if also it is true that if we are successful in that, to dissociate ourselves from the experiences of the senses, then what will happen? The progress in meditation will be so fast. In the beginning, we have to make sincere efforts and consistent efforts. Once it is made, if we have learned how to disconnect ourselves from these senses, the world of senses, then dharana will be very easy. Today we will practice dharana and pratyahara also. But it is important to know how to do, how to progress. This is only a kind of introduction, because every yam, to understand yam and niyam is itself we need a great deed, a great effort in order to understand yam and niyam. But if we have a framework in our mind, we can follow that up in the future. So now we are ready. We have attained our asana, a comfortable, stable posture, sthir sukhamasana. Then pratyahara. Now, after pranayam, pratyahara, and pratyahara, that is the learning now. We have to learn now how to do that. And we will try to do that today. Now dharana. What do we understand by dharana? Meditation is also kind of focus. So if we will go, there is a sutra in Yoga Darshan, Desh Bandha Chittasya Dharana. To bound the mind to one particular place in the body is called dharana. On that day, we started our meditation with dharana. And where did we on that day? What was our place of dharana? Yeah. Yes. And what Swami Dayanand Ji has called this place? नहीं, एक पर्टिकुलर वर्ड यूज किया उन्होंने ऋग्वेद आदि भाष्य भूमिका में उपासना प्रकरणम में ब्रह्मपुर। ब्रह्मपुर इस एरिया को उन्होंने कहा है कि ये एरिया क्या है, ब्रह्मपुर है। और इस एरिया में अगर इस in this region if you do meditate, then it is easier to get connected with the divine consciousness. ईश्वर से संबंध इस केंद्र पर लगाना इजी है, इसे ब्रह्मपुर कहा है। तो इस चीज को मैं याद रखें कि दिस एरिया ऑफ द हार्ट सेंटर probably most fruitful in meditation than any other center. और भाव जो ईश्वर के लिए, जो भगवान के लिए हमारे हृदय में, in our hearts, when the emotions, the deep emotions comes out, it comes from this center. One simple question, very practical. Whenever you feel love for your dear ones, your children, where do you feel that? In your heart center. It comes from the heart. When you cry for someone, it comes from you. So, if we make this area our focus area for the meditation, the progress will be very fast, very rapid. That is my guarantee. Because whatever I have experienced, this area is special. And people are giving it, and Mahima Mandan, they can give their own names, but this fact is universal, written in the Shastra. So dharana is also two types. One is deshbandha chittasya dharana, and another dharana is the dharana of an idea. Dhyan has not started yet. The dharana of an idea, we are still bound to this center, and we are trying to connect ourselves in that center with that. Suppose, for example, simple, we will do that today. We are going to do that. Suppose we have focused ourselves here, and I say now we will chant Om. And if you concentrate that Om here, you connect, you place that point of dharana along with the chanting, then it becomes more effective. Then dhyan is the later stages of development of our progress, in our progress, that the meditation starts. So the first necessity, how to make our meditation effective, is to be quiet. Very simple, to be quiet. Can we be quiet for some time now so that we can start our meditation? Quiet means first to quiet our mind, to quiet our emotions. All emotions must be quiet. All thoughts must be quiet before we start meditation. All feelings, whatever feeling is there, the feeling of happiness or feeling of sadness, feeling of anger, feeling any kinds of emotion, we have to quiet it. And there is a beautiful, and if you will, just I was reading Gita today, 6.26. Yato yato nishcharati manaschanchalam sthiram. Tatastato niyamyai etat tadatmanyeva vashamnyai. Which means, whenever the restless and unquiet mind goes forth, it should be controlled and brought into the subjection in the same. So, मन की तो ये चंचलता एक स्वाभाविक स्थिति बन चुकी है हमारे लिए. दिस इज वेरी नेचुरल टू अस दैट ओ माइंड इज ऑलवेज रेस्टलेस. राउंड अबाउट from all sides the thoughts are entering, but whatever degree it is restless, we have to bring it back to the idea of self. So we will start now our meditation. Then after that we will take few questions, and then with a strong resolution in our heart, today we will end this session that the purpose of my life is to find my true identity, my true self, and to get connected with the source of all happiness, energy, power, knowledge, the Supreme Self. Now, before अभी हम we are going to close this session online because there are some methods which must be used in physical when we meet in physical meetings.